Today's video is going to be about water glassing eggs. So this is my first time doing it this spring. This is I believe it's our 4th year doing it.
That sounds right.
Yep, 4th year doing it, but the first bucket we're getting going this spring. So here is what else is going on in the house today. There's still buckets to be washed up from this morning's milking. Not done yet. Boys are working on getting the wood stove going again because we got chilly in the house today. What did it get down to in here?
68 when
68 degrees inside the house, which is cold for us. Normally we're around 80 degrees in the house in the wintertime because our wood stove keeps us nice and toasty. What are you doing, Abigail?
Licking.
Licking what?
Chocolate.
Chocolate cake?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Sam's birthday.
For Sam's birthday. Sarah's making a birthday cake for Sam's birthday.
Where's Sam?
And you're helping with the cleanup. Okay. We've got schoolwork that needs to be checked. Sweet potatoes, growing slips for the garden. And we got our duck eggs going in the incubator too. So, and the rest of the stuff is just mess that needs to be cleaned up. So, all right, here we go on the water glassing. Okay, so here's how I go ahead and water glass our eggs. These are the supplies that I use. I use a 2-gallon bucket. This is what I've settled on. When I first started, I did a stoneware crock that I would make sauerkraut in, a big crock this big around, and it worked just fine. But I had to keep it up on my kitchen counter. It was very heavy, and it was just cumbersome. So it works, but it's not the most convenient thing to use. Then I switched over to these, which are very convenient to use. I bought both the buckets and the little gamma lids from Azure Standard, and I can fit 6 dozen eggs in each bucket. And then what I will do is I will stack up buckets when they're all finished, and I'll show you how I do that when we finish. But I'm able to stack them up, and it makes storage really easy because with the quantity of eggs that I water glass, I have a bunch. And storing them isn't the easiest thing. So here's where I start. I start putting the eggs in first. You are technically supposed to put them in pointy side down. I have not figured out how to do that in a 2-gallon bucket and get them to all stay pointy side down. So for 2 years now, I have not done that, and everything has been fine. So you can try to be optimal if you are capable of it, but if you're not, it's okay. So I'm going to take a little bit of time here and load this whole bucket up with eggs. Okay, so I have all 6 dozen of the eggs in here. I don't know, can you see? I hope you can see. It's pretty full. The important thing with the eggs is these are farm fresh eggs. They have never been washed. I picked the cleanest eggs that we had, so there was no mud stuck to these. There was no chicken poop stuck to these. They are clean. That's my helper. So they are clean eggs. Very important. And not from the store. Very important. Okay, next step is we're going to make our solution, the lime water solution, I guess is what I call it, to pour on these eggs. That's actually the preserving agent for these things. What I use is, this is calcium hydroxide. I purchase it in bulk from Azure Standard. This is the full bag. I haven't used anything out of this one yet. I purchase it in 5-pound bags. If you are making smaller quantities of this, you can buy the cute little baggies in the canning section at Walmart or anywhere else. They're green bags, pickling lime. Mrs. Wages, I believe is what it's called, pickling lime. But since I do in bulk, this is what I buy. This bag I've already started using, so I'm going to go ahead and open it up, and we will start measuring out the amounts that we need to fill this 2-gallon bucket. Okay, so the measurements that you are going to need, it's 1 ounce of this lime, this calcium hydroxide, 1 ounce by weight per quart of water. So if you're using something different than a 2-gallon bucket, you will do 1 ounce of the pickling lime, 1 ounce of weight of pickling lime per quart of water that you use. I know, since I've done the 2-gallon buckets for several years now, I am going to use 4 quarts of water to fill up this bucket, and so I'm going to use 4 ounces of the lime as well. I've got my little handy dandy scale here, so I'm going to put my measuring cup on there. I am going to zero it out, and then I'm going to start filling this up with what should be 4 ounces. I want to make sure I'm on pounds and ounces here, and I am. Alright, so I've got 1 ounce of the pickling lime in here. I'm going to go ahead and add it to my water, and I need 1 more ounce since I have 2 quarts of water in there. There we go. 1 more ounce there. Okay. And I'm going to stir this up. Okay, when it's all milky, I am now going to just pour it over my eggs. And then I'm going to do this a second time because this is only going to fill it up halfway. What I like to do when I pour this in, I like to put a spoon here to disperse it a little bit so that it doesn't go everywhere. And I'm still making a mess. Okay. Now I'm going to do it a second time. Okay, so I got another measuring cup with 2 quarts of water in here again, and another 2 ounces of the pickling lime in there again. Stir that up, pour it in, and we're just about finished. No messes. We're getting up here to the top. I don't know, can we see in here? Is it able to see in there? I filled it up here, and there is 1 little egg there that is showing some. Let's see if I can shift it around. I think I'm going to add just a tiny bit more water just to make sure that is all the way covered up. I want it to be totally preserved, so I'm going to get a little bit more water. Okay. be good. Okay. Now this, I'm going to put the lid on it, and I have my little masking tape here with the date and the amount of eggs that are in here. And I will put this on. I'm wondering if it's going to overflow. Ooh. And just a little bit. Okay. We're going to pretend that's not happening. So I'm going to leave the lid on there, and what I'm going to do is when I stack it up on the floor in my place that I have set aside where I can actually store these things, I'm going to set this bucket on the floor. Then I have this little piece of wood here that is going to go on top of the bucket, so that when I have my second bucket ready to go, I will then set the second bucket on top of the little board. What I've done in years past is I can stack 3 buckets tall, and it works just fine. So I can fit a large quantity of preserved eggs in a small space, which is important to me because I don't have a lot of storage space in here. I see some ladies that do their water glassing eggs in 1-gallon glass jars, and they're beautiful. You can see the eggs through the glass, and they really are lovely looking. And if I had a smaller family, I would probably go that route. But I don't have the space to store those beautiful glass jars. So the buckets work. They're plastic, and they work fine. So I have not had trouble with my eggs going bad or not preserving well because it's plastic. It's not been an issue for me. These will last. I have no problem using these a year after they've been stored. When I do go to use them, I will unscrew the gamma lid, and I will take my eggs out that I intend to use, and I will rinse them under cold water. You want to get all of that pickling lime off of the eggs. It just doesn't taste good. So rinse them well. Whenever they have gotten older, let's just say around a year old, they still taste great. However, they do not have a firm yolk as a fresh egg does. So at that point, we will primarily use them for baking or for scrambled eggs. You can't even tell there's a difference when you're using them for baking or scrambled eggs. If you try to make fried eggs out of them, they will taste just fine. But the yolk may not set up hard and firm. You may just have a white and yolk all running together. So that is our experience with water glassing eggs. It works, and it keeps us from buying eggs in the wintertime because we can eat our farm eggs all year round by using this preservation method. So if you have any questions, I guess comment, and I'll see if I can answer them. I guess that's it. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Oh, one last thing I almost forgot. Whenever you're doing the cleanup, this lime water will leave a white film on glassware, but also on the bucket. Whenever you do empty it out and you're ready to clean it up, I do recommend dumping the lime water just outside if you can. I don't like to put it down my sink. But when you go to clean up, all that film, this white film, is going to be on things. If you just soak it in some vinegar water, it'll clean it right up. So don't forget that. Okay, I think that is it. Finally. Bye-bye. What are you going to do?
I'm going to put these eggs beside the bucket.
Why are you going to do that?
Because you said so.
Okay, sounds like a good reason.